This podcast includes graphic depictions of true crime cases and may contain explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. And welcome to a new episode of We Saw the Devil. This is Robin.
And this is Jackie.
And today's episode is a little bit of a hodgepodge of multiple things. We have a couple case updates, news interest pieces, and then is Zulema in a new cult?
What?
And then we will be answering listener questions. So we have a little bit of everything for you this week. Before we get into that, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter at We Saw the Devil. You can find us on Instagram at We Saw the Devil Podcast, and furthermore, our Patreon. Again, all of our postcards and mail has finally gone out for this month. So now is the time if you would like to catch August's postcard, and you can go to patreon.com/We Saw the Devil. Check us out. We have multiple tiers, various benefits, true crime gifts, shout outs, merch, t-shirts, stickers, and a great community.
Ad-free.
Ad-free episodes for those of you who are tired of YouTube audio podcast ads. So check us out there. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can always email us at info@wesawthedevil.com. We have been receiving your Lori Vallow Lifetime movie titles. And we, on our next episode, are going to pick a winner.
A winner.
You guys have made us crack up. We have gotten some gems.
All of you are hilarious.
You are. We've gotten some really good ones. The things that I never would have thought of. But first, apologies. We are broadcasting live from the Amazon or, I guess, Indonesian, Australian rainforest here because we have parrots who will not be quiet.
Shut up.
Yeah.
One of them wants to pretend they're backing up like they're delivering packages. Large commercial truck, beep, beep.
Yeah, if you think it's bad having a dog bark when they see a car or through a window or someone walking or running, try having a large cockatoo living on a cul-de-sac, having delivery trucks. You know the sound. They'll back up or whatever, and it'll be like beep, beep, beep. When your parrot decides to pick that sound up and do it 24 hours a day. But apologies for the sound, guys. Hopefully they will cease. Let's get into it. We only have a couple case updates. Lori waived her preliminary hearing, so that's on the back burner. Her arraignment is actually going to be on August 27th, so I'd say it's safe to say to go ahead and get your portals ready.
Portal potties?
Portal potties.
I wish I had a portal potty sometimes.
God, right?
Especially if you are outside doing something recreational and you're like, man, I gotta pee.
Mm-hmm.
A pop-up portal potty would be great.
It would be. And that would have a really catchy jingle too.
Portal potty.
So yeah, we have her arraignment, and don't get all excited. I see a lot of people like, yeah, will be televised, and I don't know quite yet, but it's probably going to take less than 5 minutes. All she's doing is entering a plea. A lot of arraignments that I've seen, some of them take less than 1 minute. It's just guilty, not guilty, and done.
I think what's going to be the game changer is what plea will she take?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wasn't really expecting her to waive her right to a preliminary hearing either, yet here we are.
Yeah, which is interesting. So they're saying that charges are coming. We're waiting on the stuff from Charles Vallow, right, in Arizona, but they haven't come yet. They're saying that there's going to be a little bit of a delay behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can take 4 to 6 months for those Arizona charges to come through. And Eric Grossarth of East Idaho News actually posted that currently, if convicted of all of her charges that she's facing right now, she would only face a maximum of 10 years in prison.
That doesn't...
But again, don't worry. We have the police department out of Chandler said, hey, there are going to be additional charges. It may take 4 to 6 months, but we do plan on filing charges. And then, I wonder about, say, Social Security fraud. things like that. So I do feel sincerely that we have a lot of additional charges coming for Lori Vallow. But yeah, is she going to plead guilty? Is she going to flip on Chad? Is she going to plead guilty? I doubt it. She's too much of a narcissist.
I feel like we have like a grab bag of what ifs that are happening right now. And I think that the most important aspect of all of this is evidence and how that all plays in and what can they actually give her charges on. Now that we don't have the preliminary hearing, we don't know what's going to be presented. We actually don't know. We're kind of going in a little bit more blind than we would typically in a lot of trials like this, because not all the time do they actually just waive their preliminary hearing. This would have been an opportunity for her side to see what's to come.
Exactly. And, too, don't forget that a prosecutor only charges someone with what they think they can actually get a conviction for.
Yes.
So currently we just have the, couple charges for the concealment, destruction of evidence. The fact that the Chandler Police Department said expect additional charges for Charles Vallow's death conspiracy means that they are confident that they have evidence that could potentially convict her.
Let me ask you the question that I think a lot of people are asking. Why is it in particular Lori that's going to get those charges?
I was just referring to Lori just now because of her arraignment coming up. Based on, we haven't heard a lot of evidence either. Like, where was Chad's cell phone pinging? We've only heard of Alex's.
I believe that to be purposeful.
I agree. And a lot of the time, too, even if a preliminary hearing is held, as was Chad's, right, they will keep the bombshell evidence in their pockets. So it actually makes sense that a lot of the explosive, put him away for life type of evidence has been held.
It's hard because, we did have, during Chad's preliminary hearing, we did have the cast team come on, a few of the agents that are the FBI people who handled that. But, they were revealing in some information, but they were only talking about the aspect of Alex's phone.
Right.
But they did talk about Tammy's phone, too. I don't know. I think that we're going to get some more information. I do think that Tammy's phone, even being, examined and talked about, may be kind of precursor to what's to come for Chad. I think that Chad may actually go down more than Lori. Here's my question, too, because since we're doing listener questions, I have questions as well. I want to ask for everybody is that, so if they're trying to get a charges for Charles Vallow, is it only for Lori? How do we know it's actually for Lori?
They didn't mention Chad in their announcement. It was just Lori.
Okay. And so did the...
it could be for Chad, too, don't forget that she and Chad were in communication. And let us know, too, guys. So because of Chad's preliminary hearing and some other additional information came out, we haven't done the back to basics. We did the profile on Lori. We did the profile on Chad. If you would like us to go back and tell the story from Charles's murder up until where we currently are with the arrest and the finding of the children, let us know. If you want us to go back to basics, let us know and shout us out on YouTube or email or Facebook. But yeah, I have no idea. It's, as you know, Lori and Chad were in communication with one another while Charles was still alive. Don't forget that Charles found the email from Lori to Chad and then contacted Lori's brother Adam about it, and then even threatened to contact Chad's wife. So Chad was well aware of Charles, well aware that their little affair, that's what it was. He had caught on to it. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if Chad gets dragged into this. I guess only time will tell, huh?
Chad's defense is going to have a really hard time separating him.
Yeah.
Chad is an idiot.
So another piece I would like to point out is, guys, we've gotten a lot of messages, emails, and just overall comments about Melanie Gibb and how we've spoken about her. I would like to actually kind of respond to this. People are like, why are you so hard on Melanie Gibb? It seems so many people are suddenly Melanie Gibb fans. Speaking for myself, Jackie, you can have the mic here in a moment. Speaking for myself, I believe, yes, Melanie Gibb's testimony is instrumental in securing a conviction, right? She's pretty much, to our knowledge currently, the star witness for the prosecution. At least that's how everyone's billing her, right? Guys, how can you forget that she acted as a willing accomplice for 10 days, allowing Chad and Lori to abscond to Hawaii? She allowed them to leave the continental U.S. and go to Hawaii because she played along with the little game. It took her 10 days. Not to mention that her timelines are ever changing. Her story has changed. How she's, her timing of meeting people has changed. She has shown courage for stepping up and recording the phone call with Chad and Lori.
Is it courage, though? Or is it covering her own ass?
It is covering her own ass. I do feel like Melanie Gibb has a little bit of courage to try, to at least save her own ass to that degree and turn on her friends. But I'm sorry, I can't sign up and subscribe to the Melanie Gibb fan club here. And it's not going to happen.
My own personal opinion on Melanie Gibb is that I think she's playing stupid. I think she's trying to play her cards just for herself. I think it's all been selfish no matter what. Mm-hmm. She seems like the most selfish person I've ever seen, actually. Everything is to save her own face. And it's more like she doesn't care about her own kids. She abandoned her own children. She had no emotional, motherly connection to anything, any involvement. She just seemed like a third wheel friend that somebody picked up. Lori is more like the popular girl at school, right? When we go down to basics of human psychology and how, social interactions work, Lori was the popular one. Melanie Gibb wasn't so popular. She was the third wheel.
Yeah.
Kind of living in the footsteps of Lori's life. Mm-hmm. They were really close.
And further, just furthering your point, I do have empathy for Melanie Gibb. She had a horrible life, a horrible childhood, in and out of foster care, the whole bit. I have no doubt in my mind that part of her issue, her need for love and acceptance, stems from her childhood. Her constant search for this being a religious zealot and all of this craziness. I have no doubt that stems from her childhood. But here's the thing, guys. People have endured far worse and not been an accomplice and played along with people who kill children. I truly believe in my soul what we're going to find out is Melanie Gibb's involvement is going to come to light, and I think she's going to get wrapped up in this no matter what. I think she can be the star prosecution all she wants. It doesn't matter. She was wrong. She did wrong in this. She can try and paint herself in the light of being lesser knowing and naive all she wants. But she actually hurt herself by not being naive on the stand. She actually hurt herself by being ruthless. She came out sassy on day 2 of Chad's hearing. I wouldn't even call it sassy. It was this over defense of herself and her own self-interest. And it just showed that, okay, she's not naive. So how can we paint, she's trying to character build herself because that's what you should do in a scenario like this. She's not naive, guys. She acts naive, but she's not. And I would also like to reply to a lot of messages that we got, particularly on YouTube, about people saying, well, David Warwick was a contractor, because Jackie, in our last episode, we were like, what does he do? Yeah. We were aware, and we are aware that he is a contractor. What we were wondering is what does he do as far as in terms of the group? Why does he and Chad have known each other for years, as he fully admitted. Probably. So if he says, hey, I've known Chad for 4 or 5 years, probably put it at 8 or 9, right? That seems to be the going fashion with this club here. Yeah. Okay, so David's a contractor. Why then did Chad send him, Chad, Lori, and I believe they said Alex was present, to go look at a piece of land to buy? Why would David Warwick, a contractor, buy a piece of land himself? You can hire a contractor to build. They don't have to buy it. Well, no. And what's interesting is that Christy, our teacher, who's one of our patrons, mentioned something very, very, very interesting, and it could be true, is that during the preliminary hearing, is she close to you like a sister? Christy believes that this could be sister-wife. Polygamy. Yeah. So if they're trying to buy a commune, she's going down in that shit. And I'm not going to name names, but a poster in True Crime Underground actually posted and said, I was watching Chad's preliminary hearing, and then all of a sudden David Warwick came on the stand, and suddenly my husband said, holy crap, I know that voice. And her husband had worked with David Warwick and said he had a really piss poor work ethic. He was just a religious zealot, but also stated that he was into polygamy and multiple wives. So, that's obviously unverified. It comes from a Facebook group of someone who posted that. However, that would make sense. And if you have gone down the David Warwick rabbit hole like we have, he has some really, really out there beliefs. Now, also, I would like to take a moment, too, to point out that, and this is just a working, fluid theory, okay? I mean, obviously, we don't know. This is just speculation on our part. But, okay, so we have Chad, who's married to Tammy, and Lori. And we all know their story. Chad laid it on thick. We were married in previous lives and probations and all that crap. Melanie Pulowski, formerly Boudreaux, she leaves Brandon and goes to Rexburg. And then we have Melanie Gibb, who left her husband and children. What, 5 children?
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And one of them with special needs.
One of them with autism. Yeah.
Which is so disgusting.
It is. Leaves her husband. And then we have David Warwick, who left his wife and 7 children. Likely with Melanie Gibb, like to be with Melanie Gibb, and both of them were involved in Chad's group. So the question remains, and I wonder, just this is speculation again, if Chad was building, like you said, Jackie, a commune and having all of these people separate from their spouses so that they, and don't forget too, I'll finish my thought, but don't forget too that when Lori went to Hawaii, she met with April Raymond, her friend, and asked her to abandon her children and join her in Rexburg. So what if Chad was trying to build his own commune and set people up with new spouses as part of the 144,000? I don't know. I just feel like David Warwick being brought to that property, and then Melanie, he and Melanie leaving their spouses, divorcing, being together, and then, going to Chad to look at a piece of land, operating in the same LDS fringe.
Wasn't there a thing where Julie Rowe was going to buy property too?
Yeah, and then Julie Rowe was trying to buy property beside Chad as well. Don't forget that she went into one of Chad's direct neighbors' homes, knocked on their door and was like, "My angel has told me that I need to buy this house." And they were like, "Get the GTFO."
GTFO.
So yeah, it's interesting, but I guess we will find more as things come. It's fun to speculate and theorize about stuff in this case, but hopefully we get answers.
I don't think that's that far-fetched though. I mean, it's obvious that they were trying to build their own community.
Right.
The fact that a lot of these sects, more radicalized sects of LDS, end up branching out into polygamy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem so far-fetched.
So yeah, also over the last week since our last episode, it was Chad's 52nd birthday.
Ew. 52 years of being a potato.
Yeah, 52 years of being a rotten potato.
He's well-aged.
I would not call it well. And then something really interesting, guys. So on August 4th, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Office of the Presidency, put out a memo. And I'm just going to read this because I find it really, really interesting. And disclaimer, before we start getting hateful emails, I'm not singling out the LDS Church. I'm not calling it a cult. I'm not bad-mouthing or insulting it in the least. I am merely reporting a news bulletin that they themselves published. On August 4th, the Office of the First Presidency out of Salt Lake posted this and sent it to authorities, officers, and leaders. It says, "We remind leaders and members of a longstanding policy that church leaders should not involve themselves in civil or criminal cases regarding members in their units, quorums, or organizations without first consulting the church legal counsel. This same policy applies to leaders corresponding with court personnel on behalf of criminal defendants or others, including through email. However well-intentioned, church leaders sharing information in legal proceedings can sometimes be misinterpreted and even damaging. Such sharing can be especially harmful to victims and their families. Following the church's policy also keeps the church from being inappropriately implicated in legal matters. If a leader believes he or she should testify or communicate in a legal matter, or if a leader is being required to do so by legal process, that leader must contact the Office of General Counsel at church headquarters." WTF.
Why do they have to? Okay, so if they're being summoned in a legal proceeding or being told, "Hey, you need to make a testimony on behalf of the church as a leader," you have to contact us first.
Right.
You got to let us know. Okay. I think the only reason why we're talking about this is that it could definitely be related to the Lori Vallow case.
It makes me wonder because the forum, right, Avow, a lot of people were in that forum. Julie Rowe was huge, in it. I can't think of any other major current court legal case involving the LDS Church.
It doesn't matter because they very well could just be related,
It could be, it couldn't be, I mean, that's speculative on our parts, but why in the world would someone have to contact their clergy or their church office? So you mean to tell me that, let's say someone currently in the church, right, had contact with, say, Lori, in some way in Rexburg, and the FBI wants to talk to them. The LDS Church is literally telling them, before you do that, contact us first. That is shady, guys. I have never heard of this in my entire freaking life. I've never heard of this in my entire freaking life. It is shady. And I'm sure we're going to get hate mail for saying this, but I'm sorry, guys. It is the truth. That is shady. If you have information on a case or even...
As a leader, you observe things.
Yeah.
It's observation a lot of the time. Most times it's observational. And we can't do it under the guise that you could be hurting the victims. No, because here's the thing, is that if your theology that is in place should be set pretty much in stone, that we're not doing anything wrong. This is what we believe, and this is who we are, and this is our belief system. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is how, and this is how it absolutely could influence these kind of behaviors.
No, absolutely. And for those of you who think we're being too harsh, we have been a champion of the LDS Church in this case and showing the differences and how Chad and Lori's doctrine, their ideology is not traditional LDS doctrine.
Oh, no, this is like weird fundamentalist stuff.
Yeah, they're fringe, right? Like we've always been of that field and corrected people when they're like, oh, all the LDS are like this. No, we have been a champion for you guys. But I will also speak my truth in saying that this is some shady crap.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So,
even if it's not related to the Lori Vallow case, it could be related to any case. I don't think that anyone should have to funnel like that.
No. Mm-hmm.
You can be of any walks of life and commit a crime.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what religion you are. There are criminals in every single religion on this earth.
And, I take the very middle road stance when it comes to... I'll say this. I know that a lot of LDS people get a lot of flack for being LDS. Okay, I know that, and I understand the defensiveness behind that, and it's tiring to have to always defend yourself.
And especially with the Lori Vallow case, I've seen a lot of members of the LDS Church say that it's become almost embarrassing because of this case in particular.
Yeah, and I actually... I'm embarrassed that the church would actually come out and be like, you gotta talk to us first.
Yeah.
No, this isn't a PR move. This is weird. It's abnormal.
It is. So
it's a mistake. I think that the LDS Church just made a mistake by saying that out.
I agree. And, my heart goes out to you LDS members who are getting so much flack for this, or, people say on the outside who aren't really into the Lori Vallow case. Or even the ones who are in it, giving you guys slack. I'm really, really sorry. My heart does go out to you. Everyone should be able to practice, as long as they're not hurting anyone.
Live and let live.
Live and let live. But this was a bad, shady move. So last piece for just our regular news updates is we've also gotten multiple comments and emails from people saying asking us to check out a cult called Love Has Won.
Love Has Won.
And people are saying that Zulema Pastenes is now affiliated with them. And I haven't found any proof of this yet, as far as Zulema is concerned. So I will get back to you if I do. But guys, I started going down this rabbit hole last night and I haven't been to bed yet. I haven't slept. This is a frickin' gem. And if you have not heard of Love Has Won, allow me to just read a Reddit comment kind of summarizing them.
Yes.
So the leader's name, she's been doing this for about 10 years. She's an alcoholic and abandoned her own children in 2008 to move to Crestone, Colorado to be with some man who messaged her online and told her that she is Mother God and he is Father God. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
He was much older than her. They broke up a couple years ago and then she found a new Father God. And they basically pull people into it who are on Social Security to join them. They drain them financially. They're constantly begging for donations. Father God, the man behind that, manipulated lots of women into having sex with him, saying that they were also goddesses. Does that sound familiar? And yeah, the woman, she calls herself Mother God, and you can see her transformation. They have over like 500 YouTube videos, and she, in the beginning, it almost seems like this was like a self-help or self-empowerment, new agey type of thing with healing work and, energy work and healing. And somehow it went horrifically wrong, and she looks like a meth head. Like, this is what happens when you come from the little town of Bethlehem.
And this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah.
And the egg cracks into the frying pan.
She's apparently sick. And so she's constantly asking for donations. They frequently go from Colorado to Hawaii on vacation. And of course, your money supports that if you donate. And it is a mess. It is a hot mess. But they have I wouldn't say substantial amount of followers, but they have a solid group here. I want to know why we've gotten 4 or 5 messages from people saying that Zulema is now affiliated with them. So if you have information on that, please reach out to us. Again, info@wesawthedevil.com. If we can get any more information, we'll do an episode on this group, because man, I literally researched them for like 8.5 hours last night, and it just... If you guys are bored, Lori Vallow's, that the rabbit hole is kind of stagnant for you at the moment, this is one you're going to want to hop on. It makes like all these other random cults look just tame in comparison.
Unless you look at Heaven's Gate.
It makes them look tame by comparison.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I think that hailing Hail Bop, the comment was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice touch.
Yeah, I want to know if anyone wants me to talk about Heaven's Gate at some point, because I think it's fascinating.
It is.
It's actually kind of funny, but sad. And the moment we've all been waiting for, listener questions.
Yes, we got a lot from you guys. We did this a while ago, and we couldn't even get through a quarter of them, and we got a hefty amount this time, too. So
I love the interaction. I love that all of you are engaged in this.
Alrighty, so I guess we can just walk through some of these. More so a comment than a question, but Relax Sun from YouTube posted on one of our videos, I also believe that if Melanie was a man, she would not be scrutinized and villainized in the same way. It's sad how people treat women in the public eye. 100% agree. I do believe that both Lori and Melanie have some culpability in this to varying degrees in different ways. But you're right. I mean, if you look at men who have committed similar crimes, they're not quite vilified. And honestly, I hate how people call Lori hoary. Like, I find it disgusting. I mean, how many people have done that to a man?
None.
Men, it's the double standard is absolutely sickening to me.
We have to examine it from that perspective because it influences how a jury may see them. I don't think that Melanie Gibb's been vilified, though. Mm-hmm. I almost want to disagree with you on that one. I feel like a lot of people love Melanie Gibb in a way of, oh, she's doing the right thing. And I think that's just kind of going under the radar a little.
Everybody calls Chad Potato Head. Okay, he's a lump of a human. He's not very aesthetically pleasing to look at. But Lori is hoary and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. Melanie Gibb. I do find that Melanie Gibb has kind of a fan club now.
Well, I will say this. I do think that Melanie Gibb isn't being scrutinized enough for being a mother, for being a bad mother. Just like if she was a man, I would be like, why isn't he being a better father?
Right.
Especially... No, it's more than expected that a mother has a motherly bond with their children, especially special needs children. And it actually kind of makes my skin crawl to think that someone would abandon their special needs child and then never make that kind of motherly connection with somebody else who has the same special needs. Autistic child and autistic child, and they're so close together. How come there's no relation between Melanie Gibb and her child? It's weird.
Jessica Fenn, 10, also on YouTube, said, Chad is 100% culpable, but I think it's clear from these videos and tapes that Lori was the one pulling the strings. Yes. I think that we've been going back 50-50% of the time on, was Chad behind it? Was Lori behind it? 2 things solidified my stance on this. I agree with you. Number 1 is seeing Chad speaking in that video at a Preparing a People event. He was not charismatic. He was not very bright. He was not a good speaker. His writing sucks. His book sucks. And he is just a lump of a man. Number 2, that phone call that Melanie Gibb recorded, of Chad and Lori and her where she confronted them. Lori was like a bulldog. And then number 3, Chad's prison phone call on June 9th to Lori. He was kind of mopey and Lori completely had it together. I don't know. That just proved to me that she is cold, conniving, and is the very much kind of the puppet master of all of this.
The fact that he called her to basically inform her that they're looking and he's sad about it because he knows they are about to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he's confiding in her for that kind of like direction.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely seems reversed from what like a lot of people previously thought. You know what I mean?
Well, this is something that everyone knows. I feel like a lot of you agree that Lori is probably more like a planner in all of this. She's kind of like the strong arm. Mm-hmm. Chad is just a gullible idiot.
Very much so.
But we don't know. Like I want to see more evidence, and that's the only thing I actually care about. Mm-hmm. I don't care so much for speculating on character and their flaws as much as I would like to just see the evidence and how everything plays out for this as the truth. The truth will come out, and there's a lot of truth to come out in this case.
Yes. We haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet.
I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of evidence that's not being revealed, especially Tammy's autopsy.
Oh, God, I can't wait for that.
She needs justice. That's so messed up what happened to her.
Alrighty, so Alexandra Hunter, also of YouTube, said, "Girls, it's being reported on another channel that Arizona is going to pursue charges against Lori for conspiracy to commit murder of Charles Vallow within 4 to 6 months. I hope this is true. Let us know what you figure out on this. Cheers. P.S. I want law enforcement to go back to Chad's property to dig up the rest of the pet cemetery to ascertain the validity of the raccoon story."
That freaking raccoon.
I hope they do. Not going to happen, but yeah, that would be really interesting. There's an article on ArizonaCentral.com. That's azcentral.com. That was the local breaking news out of Chandler, where they are planning to submit murder and conspiracy charges against Lori Vallow. So yes, that is 100% confirmed. Lori Vallow, they are expecting to submit conspiracy to commit murder charges against her within, again, as you said, Alexandra, 4 to 6 months.
Well, our lovely Justin Lum actually posted about it as well. So.
He did.
And so, if he's posting it, it's true.
Major love to Justin Lum. We love him on this channel.
Well, he's provided nothing but solid, good work. Mm-hmm. And everything that he has presented has been true and factual.
Yep, agreed. Let's see. Amy Fain on YouTube said, "Isn't it Lori's lawyer with the assault accusation? I thought it was Mark Means." Yes, Mark Means is a flaming idiot. However, it was actually Chad's attorney, John Pryor, who has a record. The story is basically a 19-year-old girl went into his office to seek employment and legal advice. And she claims that Pryor attempted to sexually assault her in the conference room. He apparently tried to literally hold her down and supposedly sexually assault her on the table in the conference room.
Maybe he needed legal advice.
Right, well, he did. So it actually went to trial. And John Pryor said that the victim, the 19-year-old girl, consented to his advances and also took his money for sex. So Pryor's entire defense was, well, I tried to pay her for sex. Which, outstanding attorney. Like, he and Chad just are two little peas in a pod. And he was sentenced to 120 days for battery. That was suspended. 100 days suspended, 30 days discretionary, and he was only fined $137.50.
Did the scumbag try to proclaim that he knew her in a past life?
God only knows. Yeah, he is a scumbag, tried to rape a girl in his office and got off with a $137 fine. So Chad is clearly hiring the best. Alrighty, Brittany S. says, "Tell us a little about yourselves. Who are you?" My name is Robin. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I ended up going to college and getting a bachelor's degree in political science and French double major. I wanted to go into international law and go to law school, but it didn't work out that way. I actually ended up, after I graduated, working for Twitter France to be exact, because I'm fluent in French. And it was an engineering job with Twitter, but they actually taught me some tools. So I've actually, for the last 10 years, been working on and off as an engineer. It was miserable. I hated it. So I've been thinking about my future and decided to try to go to law school. So actually, at the end of this month, I will be taking the LSAT.
I'm really excited for you taking LSAT.
Yeah, so see if I can get into law school. Haven't determined which kind of law I would like to practice. Obviously criminal law, but as we all know, things don't work out as they do on like Law and Order.
Well, and you also meet new people and get, realize your place in the world when you get into college.
Again, apologies, for our episodes being sporadic, like this one's coming out on Friday, the only one of the week. I am hitting the books so hard that it is not even funny. So that's it about me, I guess. My favorite foods are anything pasta. Literally anything pasta. Poutine is probably one of my favorites. I lived in the state of Maine for almost 10 years, close to the Canadian border, and fell in love with poutine there, which is so simple, but yet just so delicious. And my favorite bands, music-wise, are Chelsea Wolfe, Ginger, Tori Amos, and Bjork are like my top 4. I can't think of any other things that you would like to know about me.
Let's see. Me. I'm Jackie. I went to school for geology with an environmental emphasis. I have my certificate in cosmetology. I grew up in Arizona in the desert for the most part. Not from there originally, but grew up there and Arizona and California mostly. I have traveled places like Australia when I was younger. I lived there for like 6 months in Sydney. That was really cool. And I love my Australian people who are our listeners. I also love birds. I have been a huge advocate of saving and rescuing birds my whole life. And I love dogs. These are some things about me, I guess.
What are your favorite music artists?
I'm boring. I'm going to be boring now in your shadow. So I love Chelsea Wolfe, and I like the Interrupters. I've been liking them lately, and I love Bjork. We have a lot of similar tastes. So
yeah, Jackie and I are like almost one-on-one on music. So.
Yeah, we're two peas in a messed up pod. Our pod is pretty messed up, but we do have everything in common pretty much. I love horror movies. I do enjoy indie films, which is...
Oh yeah, what are your favorite movies?
I think my top number 1 favorite movie is Dancer in the Dark. That really... I've never sobbed so hard in my life.
Yep.
And it's beautiful. Goodbye Lenin, because I like political-based indie films a lot. I Heart Huckabees, Spirited Away.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What are your favorite movies, Robin?
My all-time favorite movie is actually a tie between 2 different films. The first one being a French horror film called Martyrs. Again, the original. It has a really terrible American remake. I think that is one of the most amazing films ever made. Tied, Jackie, with one of your first, Dancer in the Dark, which is Lars von Trier, starring Bjork. I've seen it probably 40 times, and I still sob every time I see it. Followed by Suspiria, the 2018 remake.
You really love the kind of occult, ritualistic design.
I was about to add Midsommar onto that list too.
Oh,
so yeah.
You like the kind of culty feels of stuff.
That's my favorite movies, and I guess that about sums it up for us.
Everyone's gonna find out that we're weirdos, and then they're like, "Why did they like that?"
So Erica F asked, "What is the true crime case you are most interested in?" For me, other than East Area Rapist, the one that I'm most interested in is Armin Muse, the German cannibal. And if you're not familiar with his case, he was just a German man, and he thought he was cannibal. He was interested in eating someone. So what did he do? He logged on, and apparently, guys, there are underground cannibal websites, like cannibal forums. So he logged on to his friendly cannibal forum and put out an ad that he was looking for someone to eat. And he got a reply from a man who was severely depressed and said that he wanted to die and be eaten. The 2 met up.
He's just your friendly German guy who's hungry, looking for a next Wiener Schnitzel.
Literally, because apparently the 2 had sex. He cut off his penis, cut it into pieces, and then fried it.
Well, he ate it. I mean,
he ate it. Yep,
no waste there, right?
No waste. And the gentleman that he did this to died. He then carried his body apparently into the basement, dismembered him, and started storing some stuff in the freezer.
What's messed up is that the guy volunteered to do it.
He did. He entirely volunteered to do it, 100%. He knew it was all on video, too. All of this, the entire act, the dismemberment, it was all on video. And anyway, the police ended up catching on. And they actually caught on to it because after Armin Muse killed this man, he went back onto the cannibal forum, talked about what he had done, and was seeking out another person willing to be killed and eaten. So he was arrested. He went to a jury trial. He was sentenced. He was first I should specify, sentenced for manslaughter and received only 8.5 years in prison. The prosecutor's office determined that that was not nearly enough, and then he was retried, which I find really interesting that even after your trial is over in Germany, they can be like, no, we effed up, and retry you again.
Weird.
Yeah. And he received life in prison because the determining factor was that he gained sexual satisfaction from eating human flesh. And so that is the reason why he got life in prison.
That's some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Yeah. So since he's been in prison, he wants to write an autobiography to deter people from doing this. And he is also now a vegetarian.
Oh, are we serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's quite the change.
Yes. So what about you, Jackie? What's your most interesting true crime case?
My most this is actually something that connected us. I followed the Armin Muse case pretty closely when it happened. That was one of mine. And then Elisa Lam and the Granny Ripper. So we did an episode together on the Granny Ripper as like our primer episode because it's something that connected me and Robin. And that's actually kind of how we met in a weird way. We connected through cannibalism.
We did.
The Granny Ripper was into black magic and kept books. And she decided that she was going to kill people that she lived with, elderly people. She was elderly herself, and man, she was a strong lady. She literally dismembered them and ate some of their flesh and wrote black magic books about it and decided to put some heads inside of a a stock pot.
A stock pot, yeah.
Yeah, and there's video of her, and she only let herself get caught because she wanted a retirement plan in Russia.
Isn't that amazing?
And she blew kisses at the camera because she's like, my retirement plan's here. So if you live in Russia, maybe that could be your plan. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's bad. But I wrote that episode. Yeah, I think that's my case.
That's a good one too. She is a piece of work.
Well, the Armin Muse case is what led me to that case. And I showed it to you and you're like, what? And we bonded.
And for those of you with a strong constitution, there is an amazing movie, German movie by Marion Dora called Cannibal. It's called an quote-unquote extreme film for those of you who are not familiar, and it is a retelling of the Armin Muse case. It's probably about as realistic as you can get, and it is a very good, it's, to my knowledge, one of the only movies about it.
I feel like a lot of people are not going to want to watch it.
It's a bit much. So if you, again, are not used to gore or violence in your films, again, it's considered an extreme film. But if you are and you want to know about the Armin Muse case and how that played out, it is a very, very good film.
Robin, you are a unicorn when it comes to movies. She can handle anything extreme.
Alrighty, so now we're moving to Twitter. So we got a question from Crime and All on Twitter, and they asked, is there a deal in the works for either Lori or Chad? Not that anyone is aware of yet. So we will see. Again, Lori's arraignment is at the end of this month on August 27th. Maybe that'll give us a little bit more clarity, but I think we're going to have to wait, guys.
I think that the arraignment will clarify some of that, maybe. Because if she has to do a guilty plea, maybe there'll be a plea deal.
We'll see. Only time will tell. Let's see. And then Julie C. asked on Facebook, also patron, who is paying for their attorneys? If neither of them has any money, how can they pay their legal bills? You know, I think it was a couple months ago, maybe back in late May, early June, someone posted a screenshot somehow of a receipt of one of Chad Daybell's accounts. And it looked like he had a little over $200,000 left. That's not a lot of money, considering what they are facing currently. And then don't forget, we had the last couple of months, attorneys, him moving around and stuff. They had their Hawaii trip that was apparently ungodly expensive as well. So here's my thinking. I, for some reason, do not foresee Lori Vallow sticking it out with Mark Means. I truly believe that she will likely let him go, or he may quit, because don't forget, he's a family attorney. He's not cut out for what he's about to undertake. I truly believe that Lori is going to be appointed a public defender at some point in this.
Do you really think so?
They simply do not have the money. Unless Barry and Janice, her parents or her family, unless someone puts that up. Oh, by the way, just on the 8th, on August 8th, Barry and Janice are actually being hunted by the IRS.
What?
They're still on their butts. Like,
wait, he wrote a book on how to dodge the IRS, right?
yeah. So basically, he didn't pay his taxes, and then they've been in a legal battle, and he spent some jail time for fraud and all this other crazy stuff for like fake attorney and all this. I mean, her family does not have money, so I don't see anyone coming with an open checkbook for Lori Vallow. Both Chad and Lori's cases are going to require far too much work. We're talking research, time, talking to witnesses, meetings. All of that costs an insane amount of money. So neither one of them will have it. Now, the lawyers could decide to do it pro bono, which can't imagine they would. Maybe John Pryor. He seems to be enough of a narcissist to just want his name out there as payment. Yeah, I fully believe that Mark Means is going to disappear from the picture soon, and Lori will end up with a PD. Beth M. asked, after COVID has ended, what will you do first?
Oh my God, I'm going to eat sushi.
Sushi, 100%.
Yeah, I want to go and travel somewhere. I definitely want to go out of country. I'm itching to travel.
If they will ever allow Americans in anywhere.
Well, I'm thinking Japan, maybe. Eat some sushi in Japan and be like, oh my God, the real experience.
Yeah.
Like the sigh of relief of,
We will see, though, when and if that will ever happen. Ian, our patron, asked, who would play the two of you in a movie about armchair sleuths, their menagerie, and the hunt for two missing children?
Oh my God.
Okay, for me, Aubrey Plaza.
Are you sure? You look like the actress that played Wonder Woman. Are we going off of looks or our personality?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Are we going off of looks or personality?
Let's do both.
Okay, I don't think I look like her, but cool. But my personality is definitely more Aubrey Plaza.
Oh my God. I don't even know. I'm so bad with actors and actresses. Like, I'm bad with actor names.
I think you would be pardon me if I butcher her name, but like Laura Prepon.
Prepon.
Like Orange is the New Black.
I guess personality-wise, yeah. Maybe personality-wise.
Personality-wise and even like looks-wise, I would say. So,
looks-wise, really?
Yeah, a little bit. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm short.
Congratulations, you're a winner.
I feel like she's tall, but okay.
Minus the Scientology, though.
But I always wanted to have a side of Scientology. Are we serious?
Ugh.
I want to jump up on a table like Tom Cruise
Right.
on TV during an interview.
Roseanne V asked, will you guys travel to Rexburg once the trial starts? I know it is potentially years away, but just curious. I would like to. I mean, it depends on COVID, to be perfectly honest with you. If this crap is not in check, then no.
Robin is in the vulnerable age group of dying from COVID. She's 85 years old.
Oh my God. And we are in Oregon, so it's just a hop, skip, and a jump down to Idaho. Jackie did go to Rexburg.
I did.
It's a possibility. Kathy S. asked, how did the police investigators, even for a moment, not pull up Alex's rap sheet to see that he could not own gun or ammo? Red flags all over this poorly investigated mess. I agree with you, Kathy. However, part of the deal, so Alex Cox tased Joseph Ryan in the crotch. What happened is, he spent a little time in jail. And then he had to pay like a $2,000 like restitution, more or less, to Joseph Ryan. And then his record, to my understanding, like it was dismissed. Like that was it. Therefore, he was able to keep his ability to own a gun and ammo.
He was not a felon.
He was not a felon. That is why Alex Cox was legally able to possess a gun. Let's see. Beth R. said, is the Daybell Vallow case too much for y'all to maybe take on the Fort Hood stuff as well? I agree with Robin that there is likely a serial killer. I don't know. Something is going on down there. Something very bad. Your episode on Vanessa Guillen was so well done. Maybe in between the current active case, y'all can do a few more episodes on Fort Hood or other specific incidents there. I would very much like that. I do believe that my opinion on a potential serial killer has been kind of debunked. They're starting to kind of piece things together down there. It just seems like there's a hell of a lot of crime. Yeah,
I looked at the crime map and the statistics and FBI statistics behind it and kind of found out that entire area that surrounds the Fort Hood area where people live is not good news. It's very bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. So, but it seems to just boil down to it being a crime-ridden crap hole area. So, like, one guy was just murdered by his friend. Vanessa Guillen was murdered by a coworker and fellow Army member. Yeah, it just seems like good old-fashioned crime down there. So,
if any of you have actually been stationed at Fort Hood, I would love to hear your experience, though, and your observations.
yes.
Please.
Again, info at We Saw the Devil.
Info at WeSawTheDevil.com.
So I'm sorry to all of you whose questions we were not able to answer. We've already gone an hour, so we are going to cut this off. We will hold those and try to answer them some other point. Our next episode is going to be a mini-sode on Jason Mow. As promised, we are trying to go through the major players. So far, we've done Lori, Chad, Zulema, and now it is Jason Mow's turn. That's going to be coming out next week.
Doesn't Jason Mow's name kind of sound like he should have been a Pokemon?
It does.
I summon you, Jason Mow.
So weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be our next episode. And then we have some other cool cases up on the horizon here for you guys. And again, let us know if you want us to go back to basics as we originally discussed. Now that we've gotten through a lot of major players, would you like us to kind of go and connect with Charles' murder and start going through that stuff again? So let us know on that.
I'm really excited for us to kind of do a recap maybe of what's been happening at Fort Hood.
Yeah, that'll be interesting too.
Yeah, I would like to kind of deep dive on that. I've been looking at it closely for a while.
And don't forget, you can find us at WeSawTheDevil.com. You can find us, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you find podcasts.
Oh my God, we're everywhere.
We are. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at We Saw the Devil, Instagram at We Saw the Devil Podcast. And again, we have a pretty kick-ass Patreon, if I do say so myself, a really cool Facebook community just for patrons where we hang out with you throughout the day. Really cool and great discussions there, and we sleuth. And then also you get merch and goodies. Monthly postcards from the case of the month, merch, stickers, t-shirt.
We love just giving you guys stuff, and I get pleasure from shopping. Mm-hmm. So I'm not able to go out and regularly shop because of COVID and stuff, but you know what? We love making stuff for you guys.
It's true. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much again for listening. We love you.
Until next crime.